All right, good afternoon, gentlemen. I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. It's episode number 30 of the Minecraft Survival Let's Play. We have a ton of different projects and things I want to finish up in today's episode. So instead of having this long, kind of irrelevant, drawn out introduction, I just want to kind of get into the episode, get to work. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Here we go. Alright, so in the introduction clip, you saw me starting to destroy the previous wall here, and maybe some of you haven't even noticed, but I did actually go ahead and move this entire wall about 3 or 4 blocks to the left. There are some unfinished areas. We still have to bone meal this grass up or maybe build something in that area. We still have to detail some of this stone brick, and there's even some water that isn't exactly flowing correctly down here. But other than that, this is basically done for right now. I just wanted to, if you watched the previous episode, you saw that I wanted to move this wall over and line it up with the doorway. I'll show you what that looks like in a second. But this is basically complete. Very small little progress update, kind of irrelevant, but I just want to show you guys some progress on that. Moving on to the next clip. Alright, so like I was saying in the previous clip, you can see that everything is perfectly symmetrical and lined up now in terms of the pathway and the doorway down there leading up all the way to the balcony. I think that's the best way it can look. I don't know, maybe symmetry isn't always the best thing you can go with, but in this case, I feel like it fits. So yeah, that's pretty good. The terraforming around that wall isn't exactly great, but I want to get this area up here finished up. In the last episode, we worked on building this house over here, and even this area down here. Maybe we could build some kind of house or at least connect up a pathway or something along those lines. I'm not exactly sure what we're going to be putting here, but we still have some detailing to do with these houses, and I want to finish this area up. I just want to finish this entire kingdom castle area so that we could say, yep, that project's finished. We can come back to it whenever we want and add things, but it's done. If we do a world tour, then I won't have to worry about coming back and completing this area. Alright, so as you can see, I've started to connect up all of the houses with pathways using the usual cobblestone and gravel mixture. I even went ahead and extended out these slabs just to give it a more gradual look. But yep, all of the houses are connected. We have some hidden lighting under the carpet as usual. We have the beginnings of a house over here. You can wrap around in between these two houses. There's a bit of an alley going on. I'm going to add a ton more snow just to get rid of any spawns. But yeah, this is the basic outline or foundation for the house that we're working on. I'm going to put a little bit more effort into this area as well. Maybe we'll have some kind of armory and some crates, some things of those sorts going on. So we'll see exactly what I do, but I'm going to keep on chipping away at this and see what we come up with. Alright, so as you can see, there's some chests and some pallets going on up there, some small details that I added, but we're going to go ahead to the right. We're going to start at the beginning of, I guess, the row of things, and there's a bunch of little details. I added some snow. There's a hole in the wall. We're using that beacon right now, but I just went ahead and kind of threw a bunch of random blocks at the wall. There's some chests, some anvils, some benches and tables, and basically it's some kind of a workshop. I don't know if it's like a woodworking shop or if it's an armor. Exactly what it is, it doesn't really matter. It's just here to fill the area to look interesting, and I feel like we've achieved that. And then if you go ahead and look to your left, you can see the house here is basically done. It's pretty different from anything we've done, and I'm not exactly sure what that cow is doing, but it looks pretty cool. Maybe I'll take a screenshot of that. But yeah, the house itself, it's very different compared to anything else we have in this area. It's a lot more rickety and old, and you can see there's a lot of those kind of spruce trap doors that are giving it that vibe and feeling, but I think it looks good enough. We have a bunch of pallets over here, some wood, some chests. We have the pathway that leads up. I kind of went ahead and sprinkled snow all over the place because this is kind of a higher elevated area in the world, so there's a bunch of snow everywhere because it's a bit colder. I even have some ice if you've seen any of the previous episode. Most of the snow is just kind of to mob proof everything, but yeah, obviously the interior isn't finished, but I think this area is looking pretty good. If we go up to this side, you can see we have the stairs that lead up to this balcony. We have some windows that I haven't put in place yet, but I think this house looks fairly solid, especially from this angle. And overall, I'm gonna finish up with these windows, maybe add some leaves, and then I think we're done with this entire area over here. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Alright, so moving up the stairs here, I'm not exactly 100% sure what I want to put in this courtyard area. We have a decent amount of space to work with here, but I don't really want to clog it up. I want it to be nice and open, so maybe just some flower beds or pots or something along those lines. Down here, I just want some tables and chairs. You can sit down and look on into the scenery. I think that'll look pretty cool. Alright, so I went ahead with the flower beds, and they look alright. I'm not exactly 100% happy with them. I feel like we need some kind of elevation. It's a little bit too open, and I want it to feel open, but this just feels kind of dead. So I'm not exactly happy with it, but something I am happy with is this balcony area down here. We added a bunch of tables and chairs, some lanterns, some flower pots. Kind of looks like a romantic balcony area that overlooks well, what is now looking pretty horrible, but what will one day be some beautiful scenery. Maybe we'll have some farmland. I'm not exactly sure what we'll have. Definitely a river that wraps around here, but that's basically as far as I know. Now, We're probably going to be working in this area over here today. What we'll be building, I'm not 100% sure, but we will figure that out pretty soon. So yeah, we have this beautiful balcony. Now we just need something to look down at. Okay, so here we are. I've done a bit of terraforming. You can see I'm trying to outline the river. It looks a little too cookie cutter, you know. I need to add some jagged edges to make it look a little bit more natural. But the mountainous area up here has received a bit of a upgrade. I think that looks a lot more natural and better. You can see the dirt slopes up and down in different sections. This whole area over here still doesn't look great. But yeah, I'm gonna continue to terraform out this entire area. You can see there's a bunch of mobs spawning and a bunch of really jagged edges and weird things that don't exactly look natural. So we're gonna go ahead and give this entire area a pass over and see if we can make it look a little bit more natural, a little bit more cleaned up. And then this area down here, you can see it kind of like dips below, I guess 6 or 7 blocks. We're probably going to leave that dip there just to give it some kind of elevation detail, but what we're going to be doing down there, I'm not exactly sure. This entire area is just very new territory to me, so we'll figure it out slowly. But I also want to include this mountain in somehow, so we'll see. But yeah, just giving you kind of like the plans for this future area. That's just where we're going to be working on for the, I guess, next few episodes. Alright, so stepping away from over there, we will get back to it. I will do some more terraforming, but I wanted to finish this area off over here. So I went ahead and added kind of like a dirt bridge here. We'll eventually connect that up with an actual bridge. And then we have a bunch of cobblestone walls that form up, and there's going to be a pathway here, and it's going to be linked to the rest of the world. And what I want to do here is just some simple flower beds, maybe some 2 tall flowers mixed in with the regular 1 tall. We'll see how we mix those together. I added this balcony area over here. I don't think I've showed this off before, but yeah, it just leads down from the restaurant that we built in the last episode. I believe it was a restaurant for like tomatoes and pasta and things of those sort. Another little balcony. You can sit here and look at all the different flower beds, which aren't here yet, but when we put them in, it should look pretty wonderful. Now, yeah, let me get back to work. I'm going to fill out all of these things and see how that looks. Okay, so as you can see, the flowers have been put in. There's a bunch of greenery that I've added, some paths that lead everywhere around the area. There's some mossy cobblestone that I added to the cobblestone because obviously that fits pretty well. I added an entire bridge, which I think works. I think I'm happy with this bridge. I'm not exactly 100% sure, but I think we're going to leave it for now. The pathway leads over into this area, which will have connected up to different areas of the world in the future using some of the path blocks, which I don't really use too often in the world, but I feel like this light color really works with the flower beds. It just makes the entire area pop. The bridge, again, not exactly sure if I'm happy with it, but I think it looks pretty good. Maybe we'll add some kind of other detail, you know, just the stone and andesite looks a little bit too clean, but maybe it's a newer bridge. That's kind of what I was going for. There's some gates that lead into all the different flower pots, or sorry, not flower pots, flower beds, and I went ahead and mixed different kinds of flowers. So if it's like yellow flowers, we have the yellow tall, 2 tall flowers, and the yellow 1 tall flowers, just giving it that look. Like some of them aren't exactly fully grown, but yeah, I'm really liking the view of the city from here. This church looks pretty weird. It's always looked weird. I don't really like the location that I put it in, but yeah, this is the bridge. It leads down into this mountain, and we're going to probably carve out like a tunnel, and it's going to go through there. The water down here isn't exactly finished, so a bunch of small things that we have to get to, but overall, I'm pretty happy with this area. It's not exactly a village or houses or anything, but it just fills in the world a little bit more. It expands the kingdom. The river's looking a little bit thin there, but yeah. Anyways, I'm going to do a bit more work, maybe carve out a tunnel here, and then we'll see where this takes us. Alright, so here we are. This is actually a pretty decent progress update because I got a little carried away and just kind of powered through some builds. We have the unfinished tunnel that leads us off into this area. We have some pathways that go to the left, that go down over here to the beacon that we've been using. I'm trying not to spoil what's up there, but we have another pathway that takes us to this area. We have a bunch of space to build new projects. We have a pathway that leads us down to that area, and then this is what I didn't want to spoil. So I didn't really give you any progress updates. I just powered through this entire build. I went ahead and searched up kind of like fantasy blacksmith houses, and then we kept it in line with the other orange roof houses, and this is what I came up with. So the block palette, basically exactly the same other than the chimney or the forge or whatever you want to call it. I'm not exactly sure what that's called. The anvils where things are made. It's a toolsmith, a blacksmith, whatever you want to call it. I don't really care. It just looks pretty great. We have this opening to the backyard here. It's kind of like open concept. There's a little garden here, so whoever lives here can feed themselves. The block palette, again, exactly the same. We added some moss blocks over there. I don't know exactly why, but yeah, there's a bunch of minute little details here. There's some pallets of stone that he can use. The unfortunate thing is it kind of blocks off the flower beds over here. I really like that view, so maybe we'll build some kind of balcony or something along those lines in the future. I don't know exactly where we would put that, but yeah, overall, I'm really happy with this build. I kind of wish I got to time-lapse this. It kind of just sprung up on you guys, but another house that's been built, so it's another addition to the collection. I think it looks great, and now I guess we're going to move on to something else. Alright, so don't worry, I haven't built anything new, but I did realize that I didn't give you guys a good enough grasp at what we're doing or where we are in the world. So we have a bunch of things that I've been working on over here, some small things, this man-made mountain that's been being built up, just another platform for us to build another house, probably in the same vein as all of these orange roof houses. I feel like everything that's elevated can be in this orange roof house. This entire area over here is probably going to be farmland. We have a bunch of pathways that we're going to interconnect, and they'll all lead to something. But if we go down here on this path, you could see we started to build out this bridge. It's probably going to be the exact same bridge as what we have over by the flower beds. It's going to lead to this side of the world. We need something that connects us over here. We're going to have the river that flows underneath, and that'll all be filled up with water. We have the paths that'll all connect to different places over here, and this entire area is probably going to be, again, in vein with all these orange roof houses, some kind of Italian Renaissance villa-esque building. So that's what's kind of going to be planned for this area, but I think we're going to leave that for the episodes to come, and are going to move back to what I was talking about earlier, the farmland, maybe build up a barn or something along those lines in this direction. So yeah, let's move on and get to work on that. Alright, so you can see the house we just worked on to the left of us, giving you an idea of where exactly we are in the world. And then we have all of this netherrock kind of like blueprints that I've put down, showing you where the paths are going to go, where the buildings are going to go. All of the buildings are, for now, planned out. I mean, there's only 4 here, so that's what we're going to start off with. In today's episode, we have a barn. We have like a house, I guess, the farmer's house. This is going to be the barn right here. You can see the biggest building. We'll probably put some stables up here on this little plateau. We'll have some kind of like a pig pen or chicken coop or something along those lines in this section, and then the final building, the 4th building, is going to be the farmer's house. So that's kind of what I have planned for right now. And then surrounding all of these buildings, we probably will add a few more buildings, but surrounding all of this is going to be either carrots or potatoes. I haven't exactly decided. I don't know exactly what's a nicer blocker, really even what I have in my inventory or my chest room. So we'll see when we get to that. But I'm going to go ahead and start to build up some houses. Also, you can see I've been working on the terraforming a bit. Everything looks a little bit smoother. But yeah, let's get to work on some buildings. Alright, you're probably expecting to see what I was working on there, but instead we're going to jump into the nether quickly and just farm up some netherite. I've been wanting to do this for a while, and now I just want to blast some music and collect up some netherite, so I'm going to do that quickly, and then we'll kind of jump back and I'll show you some progress on the houses that we've been working on. Okay, but here we are back from the nether. You can see the entire barn has been built up. I think this looks pretty phenomenal. We used the same pattern of the alternating stripped oak and dark oak, or sorry, spruce and dark oak, which looks pretty great. Just like the lodge in the spruce forest, we used deep slate for the roof, which is very new to me, which looks really great. And obviously the interior isn't finished, but back to the deep slate. We'll probably continue to use that for the rest of the houses in this area. I think it looks distinct. It'll give this entire area or district a distinct look, which will just basically make it pop out and look different from anything else we have in the world, always giving your eye something to look at, which is great. And the main thing that I'm happy I achieved with this build is it's not exactly just a rectangular barn, which you so often see, but I added this kind of like outhouse to the side, this balcony. We can add some hay bales under the balcony and give it some more details up at the top, maybe some tables or chairs, which will just give it some more things to look at, some things that'll make it look, again, distinct. That's always the look you want to go for, or at least I want to go for. And from up here, I think it looks pretty good. It makes it look a little bit smaller when you look at it from up here, but when you go up close, it looks pretty massive. And it's not exactly going to be a barn for like horses and things of that nature. It's more going to be a storage area for whatever we're going to be farming. So I think we can add some crates and barrels inside, and the interior might be a little bit more easier to design because it won't be too much work. But yeah, moving on to the other projects or houses in this area using, I guess, the same block palette. Alright, so here we are. The next structure has been put up. It's a horse stables. I don't know if that's grammatically correct, but yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's pretty different from the barn itself, mainly due to the roof. We went with hay bales, kind of mimicking thatch. The interiors are very kind of open. It's all like an outsidey build. We have some thatch on the ground as well, some hay bales for the horses to eat. We have a water pit there. The ceilings look pretty cool. That's kind of bugging me right there. I'm going to have to go ahead and fix that at some point. You know what? We might as well go do it now so I don't forget, because that'll annoy me if I ever come back and see that. But yeah, we have 2 horse stables, and then the last stable here is just a storage area, things that we can keep outside, some miscellaneous chests and crates and tables and things along those lines. I feel like that's a pretty realistic take on how a horse stable would actually be in real life. You don't have 400 horses, or I guess 3 in this case, but one of those places is just left out for some tools and things along those lines. But yeah, very happy with this build. It kind of doesn't exactly fit in with the rest of the world, but when we add some paths and connect it all up, I think it should look, or I guess fit in much better. All right, and here's the next structure, which is fairly smaller than anything else that we've worked on. The horse stable is bigger than this, the barn is way bigger than this, and this is the cow pen that I was talking about. There's also a bit of a chicken coop here, which it looks okay, but we have various different stables, and then this is the chicken coop here where the chickens will sit. And again, I went with a fantasy kind of concept art design and then built it in Minecraft. This is what it's looking like. It didn't exactly achieve the look that I was going for, but I do think it looks fairly good enough to keep. The only thing we have left now is the house itself, and then we'll have some terrain to kind of deal with after and kind of, patch everything up, add some trees, add some bushes, bone meal everything up. That'll really complete the look. But as for now, I think this looks fairly good. I think when you look at it, you definitely know, yeah, that's some kind of a pig pen or some kind of an animal pen. So that's what I was going for. I'm happy with it. But moving on to the final structure, we have the farmer's house. Okay, so the house has been completed, and it's fairly ginormous. Now, looking at it from up here, it's pretty big, and then when you get down here, it looks even bigger, and I'm pretty happy with the build. It looks a little bit odd from the front side, but I am happy with the block palette. It looks very kind of English to me. It has that like clay whiteness mixed with the wooden logs, which I often see in English old-style builds. I don't know exactly what era of England that is from, but I think it looks pretty great. For the roof, we went with deep slate again. It's a different kind of deep slate to the barn, which makes it look a little bit different, but also kind of in the same theme of things, using the same kind of block palette. So yeah, very happy with this house. It has a bunch of various different details. Nothing is like a boxy kind of square thing, but it has like a tower, it has an outhouse here, it has like a window up at the roof. It is a very bland 45-degree roof, but then we have the iron bars at the top giving it a bit more detail. We have leaves going off everywhere. We have different balconies and branching off points everywhere, just making it look very kind of, I don't even know how to describe that, but it looks very naturalistic, very fantasy looking like, but also it fits in the vein of reality. So I think it looks great. I think I'm happy with it. I'm happy with every one of these builds here. They've all been taking inspiration from some kind of fantasy concept art, but very different fantasy concept arts, and what links them all together is a kind of similar block palette. But now that's all the building we're going to do for today, but what really links these builds together is the pathways, is the shrubbery and the trees and all of that fit around the houses. That's what takes a regular Minecraft build and makes it look a lot more realistic and just a lot better. So I'm going to get to work on all of that, and then we'll be back and we'll see how that all fits together. Alright, so the first step has been put in. The pathway links to all of the different structures, and as you can see, we went for the cobble and gravel and andesite and stone pathway. I feel like this is just a little bit more of an expensive looking area. Like, that's a really nice looking barn there. That's a pretty big house. We wouldn't really just have dirt paths everywhere. It just wouldn't fit. I mean, I think it would look fine, but I think this looks and feels just a little bit better. So we're going to go with this more expensive state-of-the-art path. Maybe we'll even add some shrubbery along the sides of it, maybe some leaves or something like that. I feel like that's the kind of look that this area would have. So I'm going to continue progressing. We'll add some hidden lighting, and then I'll be back with you. Alright, so as you can see, this is kind of what I was talking about with all the leaves surrounding the pathway. It looks a little bit more expensive, but what I'm mainly here to show you is this new and improved chicken coop. Now, the fencing is what I came up with, but the chicken coop itself, this little rail that leads up into this little structure, I can't take any credit for that. I found that on Reddit. I believe it was Reddit, maybe it was Pinterest, something along those lines, but what you have to know is I didn't come up with this. If I can find the original creator, I'll put it up on screen. If I can't, then just know I didn't come up with this. It's way too good and too small and compact for me to ever think of, but it looks perfect. I'm really happy how that fits together, and it's way better than anything I had previously planned for the chicken coop. So yeah, I'm going to continue working on this area, and then we'll come back. Alright, so we've got some more infrastructure going on here. I want to build another house. We have these kind of thin oak trees right here. They're very decorational. We have some pathways that are eventually going to link up to the main path. We have this entire area up here, which was originally planned to be a graveyard. I think I'm going to completely get rid of it. The original idea was, this is pretty close to the church. Why not put a graveyard here? But I just don't think it fits. It looks pretty awkward. Maybe we'll move it off somewhere over here, maybe on top of that mountain or something along those lines. But it's definitely not going to be here. We'll probably replace that with some kind of like a flower patch or something like that. But yeah, I'm gonna do a bit more work. We're actually gonna build up another house in this area, and then we'll be back to show you off maybe the final product. So this isn't by any means the final product. I don't know exactly why I said that. I thought I was gonna have enough time to get all the carrots in, and we did go with carrots. But as you can see, another house has popped up, which is kind of like a pub. I figure it's like a I don't know. I don't want to say this is like a carrot restaurant. Not exactly. It's more of just like a regular alcohol pub. That's what I was going for. You know, you're in the little village town and then you stop by and there's a pub here. Sure, there's some carrot inspired dishes inside, but for the most part, it's just a regular bar pub thing. And you could see all of the paths kind of extend around. We started to plant some of the carrots in here. If you hop up here, you can get a better view. But yeah, this is a pretty good build in my opinion. It fits the theme with the rest of the houses. We have some variations of the different deep slate blocks. Just getting some sleep in here so you can see it in the daytime because it might look a little bit better. But yeah, I think this looks pretty decent. We have that like sign up front, which looks pretty cool. We have all of the purple glass, which makes it pop. It looks very different. You can kind of see that it's kind of more like a fun building. It's kind of enticing you to go inside and have a drink. That's basically the premise of it. I have to get a bunch more carrots down here. I went with the carrots because they kind of pop against the purple. I feel like that fits pretty well. Also because I had a bunch more carrots. But we added the staircase down from the wall. This is the first time we've ever done this, but it kind of leads down into this area right here, which kind of continues off from what we built off earlier in the episode. A few more flower beds, which just fill this area up here. We'll probably continue to fill it up with a bit more carrots and maybe some just regular grass and things along those lines in this area, just to make it look a little bit more completed, so it's not just a patch of grass, which I never like having in the world. That always looks very unfinished to me. But I'm going to continue to plant some more carrots. All of the structures are basically done. We just have some more leaves to place and some more carrots to place. So maybe we'll come back with the final product in this next clip. I don't know why I said that in the previous clip, because we went ahead and built up another house. So yeah, I'm going to see how much work I can get done, and I'll be back with you once it's done. Alright, so again, I have to mention this isn't the final product, unfortunately. There are some details that I didn't get to. We'll get to them in the next episode, but for now, this is basically all that we're going to do in this area in today's episode. We got the majority of the carrots in. They're very green, I do have to say. There's a lot of neon green going on over there. I'm not exactly sure if I'm 100% happy with that, but the area in general looks pretty phenomenal. I'm really happy with how this came out. It's another section of the world that we got completed. All of the houses are pretty different from anything I've built in Minecraft before, especially in terms of the fact that for every single one of these houses, we went with that fantasy kind of design for them. There's some carrots that need to be planted down there, but yeah, the entire area is very immersive. It kind of enthralls you in this theme. It all looks like it's from kind of like the same era, which I'm happy with. It all just looks good, so I'm really happy with it. There's still some things we have to finish up. We'll get back to that in the next episode. There's a ton more carrots that we have to plant, but yeah, for now, I think that's where we're going to leave it. We're going to move on to something else in the world, because we've basically been working on this for the entire episode, and I know some people might not be too happy with that, but hopefully you are happy with all the individual builds that we have going on over here. Alright, so the next thing that we're going to be doing in today's episode is something we haven't done in a while, and that's automating a farm. I believe the last thing we automated was the sugarcane farm, and that was, I don't even know how many episodes ago, but I have a bunch of blocks in my inventory. I have a moss block in particular that kind of gives away what we're going to be doing. I honestly didn't even know that there was automatic moss block farms, so that's pretty exciting. Someone left a comment in the previous episode, instead of using vines, why don't you use moss blocks to make cobblestone or mossy cobblestone? So I was like, yeah, okay, that would be pretty good, but moss is pretty difficult to acquire, pretty tedious, I guess. And I also continued reading the comment and found out that you could make automatic farms. So I went ahead and searched one up. I have a design in mind. Now we're just looking for an area of the base to put it in. So I'm going to go ahead, find the place, and then we're going to start building it up. It isn't actually too expensive, and it shouldn't take too long. So that's pretty great. I'm really happy that we'll have a bunch of moss sitting around, because that block is phenomenal, especially for the moss block carpets, which are perfect for hidden lighting. Alright, so I went ahead and decided to build the farm off in this direction, right next to the chest room. We have this big open area. We've never done anything with it, so why not build it here? Additionally, we're always in the chest room, so if we leave this farm on, we could just acquire a ton of moss blocks, which is, again, a pretty big positive. Now, as for the storage, I don't think we're going to link it to the chest room. I think that would just be kind of silly, because that really limits the amount of output that we can have on this farm, whereas if we have our own little chests off to the side, we can have as many chests filled up as we want, so that's just something to consider. But as far as the materials needed for this farm, you can see it's fairly cheap. The most expensive thing here is the hoppers, and we don't really even need that many hoppers. Alright, so I went ahead and laid down all of the infrastructure for the farm itself. It's basically done. We just have to decorate it right now. I'll go ahead and leave the tutorial for it down in the description below. As you can see, I mentioned we didn't need that many hoppers in the previous clip. We actually went ahead and used all of them up just so I could have the most amount of chests possible for our side little chest storage area over there. But yeah, this is the redstone. This is how the farm works. We're going to fill this up with bone meal, and then it should bone meal this moss block. And when the moss block is bone mealed, then a bunch of moss will spawn in, and all of the moss gets turned into stone because of the the cobble generator, sorry, stone generator that pushes it all out and kind of destroys it. All of the water will flow down into this collection area. The collection area is the only thing that I came up with myself. It's very simple, just like a water flow and then, like a water pipe that leads up into a water elevator that brings it all into the storage area. But we're going to go ahead and maybe we'll even turn on the farm right here and see what happens if it works. It does look pretty hideous from the front right now, but again, yeah, the water just leads down here, brings it down over here, and then brings it up into this water elevator, which is going to be exposed. I think that'll look pretty cool if we leave it exposed, and you see all the items flow up into the storage area, which we still need to fill up with a few more chests. But yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and turn the farm on right now and see if it works. I also figured that we have to add these signs here. This wasn't in the tutorial. I'm not exactly 100% sure why, but just so that the water doesn't overlap with my own water stream and doesn't just mess everything up. Anyways, let's go ahead and see if the farm works. It should. The redstone is pretty simple, and I feel like I followed everything properly, but there's always some kind of mistake that you make when you make a redstone farm. So it looks like it's working, actually. First try, that's pretty impressive. It doesn't exactly look like it's outputting the same amount as in the tutorial. So yeah, you can see everything's being funneled in properly into the farm itself, but yeah, now it's producing the moss very slowly. So I'm not exactly sure why that's occurring. Like, I'm looking at the tutorial right here on my second monitor, and it's producing way more moss than this. So clearly something is wrong. I'm gonna have to go ahead and take a look at all the redstone. Maybe it's a problem with something that I didn't put down. Maybe some timings aren't correct, or I'm not exactly sure why this isn't working. Alright, so I remember the YouTube video mentioning something about this maybe being a sticky piston instead of a regular piston, so we can go ahead and try that. And okay, it does in fact look like it's working a bit better. Again, I'm not exactly sure if this was in the tutorial, but I'm just trying it out because I couldn't really figure out what else it would be. And again, it looks like it's just not working as efficiently as in the video. Alright, so it turns out that I was wrong. That is just a regular piston, but the problem could lie somewhere over here with this sticky piston. A lot of people in the comment section below were saying to remove one of these. I believe in the tutorial even he said that this could work if you remove them, but let's go ahead and try this out. Everyone in the comments was basically unanimously agreeing that this fixed the farm for them, so my farm isn't even working now. That's problematic to say the least. I'm not exactly sure what is going on here, but unfortunately it's not working. Actually, you know what? That redstone isn't even getting powered. Maybe we need to put a block here. Okay. Yeah, that seems to be actually fixing the problem here. Yeah, you can see the moss is all growing into the stone. The stone's supposed to push it out now. And again, it's not working as efficiently as the farm. It is working though, but now it actually seemed to stop working, so that's not exactly great. I'm really not sure what's going on here. I'm gonna go ahead and maybe rewatch the entire tutorial and see if I can spot something that I did wrong and kind of retrace my steps. I guess that's the only thing I can do now. Unfortunate, but I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then we'll be back and see if I managed to fix the problem. Alright, so I think I finally realized what the problem was. One of these repeaters was on the wrong tick. I believe I had it set to like the third or fourth one. It's supposed to be only on the first tick, so hopefully this should fix the problem. The farm should finally work, and if we go over here, we could see that it does look like it's working. Again, it seems like it's slowing down now, and yep, none of the moss is growing anymore, but you can see that the bone meal is working, so I really don't know what the problem is here, and this is really starting to get annoying. So this is why I love working on redstone. Alright, I finally got it. It was this repeater right here. It was set on the wrong tick. I tried out the farm. It works. We can go ahead and see right now. We'll turn it on, and you can see that it's finally outputting the correct amount of moss. Everything seems to be working fine. It's producing an insane amount of moss, so we'll have a bunch stockpiled if we ever need it, and we will need it because this block, again, is pretty beautiful, and I'm just so happy that this farm is finally working. We can finally say it's finished, and we can start decorating the surrounding area, which is really my favorite part. I like redstone. I like what it produces. I like having automatic farms, but when it doesn't work, then it's truly annoying. Alright, a little bit of decorating later. You can see everything has really come together. We have that whole naturalistic cave vibe that we've been using throughout the entirety of the base, but then there are some very contrasting elements. For instance, the farm is like an automatic machine, so we have these like futuristic designs going on in a cave, and then we have that white marble calcite, which just looks incredible. I'm a really big fan of that block. It just looks like marble countertop to me, and it looks really fancy and expensive. Again, that contrasts with the whole natural cave vibe. We also have this glass effect going on here, which makes the entire farm look like it's frozen in some kind of a glacier. We have this exposed pipe here that brings all the items to the storage room. It's pretty difficult to see the blocks flowing up, but they are flowing up, and it's a cool exposed design there. And then we have all of the moss that we'll ever need collecting up in these chests over here. We'll never have to worry about moss ever again. I'm really happy about that. I love that block. I'm happy that we'll be able to use it freely now. And the last thing I want to do is rewire the switch. It's kind of unfortunate that's in the back over here. It's just kind of weird and awkward to get to, so I want to rewire it somewhere over here. Just add it to one of these pieces of stones. We'll add the switch. We'll run a redstone line, and that'll be much more ease of use. I guess, is that grammatically correct? Doesn't even matter, who cares, you guys know what I'm talking about. So yeah, that's the farm. It's done, it's working. There's still a bit of decoration to do, but overall I'm really happy with it, so we're gonna move on. All right, but you know what? I just quickly wanted to show you. I added a pipeline and the switch to the front here so we could just toggle the farm on and off. But I added this pipeline over here. You can input bone meal through this chest right here. It's extremely ugly. This was like the only way I could do it. I could run it off to the left, but either way, you're gonna see these ugly hoppers. There's no other way for me to refuel the dispenser with bone meal, so this is kind of a compromise I have to make. I was gonna put the switch there, but I decided to put it over there. Anyways, I think this is fine. It gets the job done. It's functional. It kind of ruins the whole aesthetic, but that's fine. It's just the farm. All right, but I think that's going to do it for today's episode. Episode number 30 is in the books. I feel like we did a good amount of progress in this episode. We worked on this entirely new farming village, which in my opinion looks pretty great. Probably said that a few too many times, but I'm really proud of this area, and I hope to kind of evolve and work on it in the next episodes to come. We're definitely going to be working on it a bit in the next episode, but we'll see where that takes us. Another thing that I've been itching to get back to is Asgard. I know we've been kind of off and on working on that project, building up some mountains, and it's kind of been pretty boring and the progress has been slow. But in the next episode, I really do want to sink my teeth into some actual progress of Asgard, not mountains, but some actual architecture, maybe not houses, but some paths and some walls and things like that, maybe acquiring a real block palette or kind of getting myself familiarized with what we're actually going to be building there, because all of that is very experimental and different for me. So we're really going to sink our teeth into that in the next episode, but that's just a small teaser. So if you want to see more of that, return in the next episode, I guess. But again, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope to see you in the next one. Have a great day, everyone. Genuinely have a great day. And yeah, goodbye. See you in the next one.